Hello, and welcome to this feature tour of the device trajectory view in the AMP for Endpoints console. In the next few minutes, we'll cover the main features of the interface and how to use them. Common ways to access device trajectory include the device trajectory link in the inbox view, as well as the device trajectory icon in the list of events. Device trajectory shows activity on an endpoint over time, including file, network, and connector events. And it's particularly useful for examining the events that lead up to and follow after a compromise. This helps you to better understand how malware might have gotten onto a system and what it did once it got onto that system. Let's take a look at some of the pieces in device trajectory. Up at the top, we have a summary of the event that we're looking at. Expanding the plus, or simply clicking on the bar, brings up the exact same interface from the inbox, and you can perform all the same actions around workflow that you could in the inbox as well. Next, we have the timeline. AMP stores 30 days worth of device trajectory data online, and you can see the last 30 days here in the top, along with this spark line that shows you peaks of activity. Events of interest are shown with red dots, and the size of the dot tells you how many events that you're looking at. Below that, the selected day is expanded into the 24 hours that make up that day, and again you can see the events within that timeline. So in this case, we see that all of the events that we're looking at happen in a very short period of time. In fact, about 20 minutes according to the display. On the right side is a scrolling list of the events that we're looking at, including the file that was involved, an icon for what kind of event it is, and a representation of the severity of that event. The main window here includes the details of the particular time slice that we're looking at. Indications of compromise are called out in yellow. Clicking on any one of these icons will bring up details in the panel on the right. Closing that out brings us back to the list of scrolling events. There's also a scroll bar at the bottom that allows us to manually move back and forwards in time. And you'll notice, pay attention to the display of the files involved on the left-hand side of the screen. As I move around in time, that display expands or contracts depending on how many things I'm looking at in the active window. Also, the scrolling list of events follows me along as I move around. You can right-click on files on the left-hand side and get an immediate list of actions. So you can apply mitigation steps like blocking applications, adding them to simple detections with the hash of the file, pulling up file analysis, copying the SHA so that you can search on it in other places, or dropping into Cisco Threat Response or other tools. You can also do that from the hash that's displayed in the event details itself. So here's the same list. You can apply filters to what you're looking at, and this lets you select or deselect particular event types. This, by the way, is also a quick handy reference for what the icons mean. So if I don't want to see anything with a benign disposition, or that has no flags applied, I can deselect those two. I click Apply Filters, and that then adjusts the display to meet only the particular criteria that I've specified. There's a little blue eye icon that shows up once I've done that, and that tells me that what I'm seeing is actually a filtered subset of the data. To clear that, simply go back to Filters, select All Types, and Apply. Searching on a file hash can be done up here. I'm going to paste the hash that I copied earlier, and now I'm going to look for events that involve that particular hash. Again, I get the little I pop up. I also see any files that were directly involved in creation or execution of the particular hash that I'm looking at. So in this case, cmd.exe, which is a benign Windows system component, was the part that executed the hash that I specified, so that shows up in the search as well. And again, clearing the search brings me back to the full view of the events. Thanks for joining me on this brief tour of the AMP device trajectory feature. I hope you found it useful. Good hunting.